Hey kids, this is James the Non-Professional back with another episode of Draw, and today we're drawing the Lorax. It is quite possibly one of my favorite animated films of all time. It's just well casted, it's funny, the timing is great, the directing is great, the casting is phenomenal. Danny DeVito and Andy from The Office, forget Ed Helms. Even Taylor Swift in there does a good job. Anyways. And you also got Betty White, who plays his grandmother, and of course Zac Efron is like the main character. He's Ted. So the whole movie is basically a lesson about caring about things. He uses the environment to actually teach the lesson. So he tells his story. The Lorax is basically the conscience of Ed Helms, or Ed Helms' character, which is the Onceler. Onceler creates this this product, and he needs to chop down a bunch of trees in order to make this product, and he ends up destroying the environment because he chops down all the trees. And the whole, like I said, thesis or lesson that you learn from it is that you need to care, because if you don't care, then nothing changes. And that's basically how he teaches the story, through an environmental sort of crisis there. Anyways, it's this. Like I said, this isn't a traditional, cartoon with just flat colors or even highlighted colors. Instead, it's more like a painting, because I wanted to portray fur. I did this earlier with the Sunny Bunny figure drawing or cartoon that I drew. And I basically took a very loose leaf or a fanned out sort of brush, and I, drew the fur. And then in order for me to shorten the fur, I took that same brush, but I used white, and I just sort of erased the edges there, so his fur was a little shorter. I did use darker in the more protruded parts of his body, and his forehead, and his nose, and then of course I started using more yellows. It's not a light orange; it's actually a yellow, in order to get that sort of spherical shape on his body. Now, in order to make the hard distinction between the mustache and the rest of his fur, I went ahead and just used a solid yellow at first, and just put a solid yellow right on top of all those paint strokes, and then I go through and I make strands of hair with a lighter yellow and some orange there. And of course, your light source is coming from the top right of the page, so you're going to get those bright sort of yellows on the top right there, and his the right side of his body, because that's where the light source is. And you're going to see me use darker orange and fatter streaks later on, and it's going to kind of look like like a sort of a pinata, like kind of strips of paper, which it's really difficult to draw fur, I guess, but at least I don't know how to do it. And of course, his eyes are green, and I went ahead and put in that sort of special effects where it makes his eyes look sort of glassy there. And it was a hard time doing his nose. I mean, honestly, I had to figure out, because his nose isn't covered in fur. His nose is just like, it's a flesh nose, and it's shiny. So I went ahead and did that last. But I went through and did his arms, and basically again I just used that fanned out sort of brush, and then and then I went through with white again and just made the fur shorter in there. So there's the nose. I did make it a little shiny there. Should have put like a white dot on top of there and make it super shiny. But anyways, so this is the fatter brush that I used there, so you get that sort of pinata sort of texture. And I just thought it looked good, and it was a trial and error with that one. I kept erasing and putting it back, erasing and putting it back, and so. And of course, the shadow is going to be on his left side because the light source is on the right, so you see the darker orange there on the left side. Anyways, hope you guys learned some things. Always remember your 3 Ps: persistence, patience, perseverance. That's how you grow. Hey guys, if you like my content, please like or comment below. And if you want regular updates, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.